After years and years of searching for icebergs to make a video on, I finally found one interesting and not taken. Today I'll be talking about the computer virus iceberg, and I'll also be explaining the chart in today's video. And for you all living under a rock and don't know what an iceberg chart is, an iceberg chart is basically the known things to the most not known things. But if you want to stand up and walk around, go ahead, because I'm going to be explaining a lot in this video. So now that I'm done, let's start the first stage. I love you. This virus started May 5th of 2000. It was referred as the love bug or love letter. This virus affected over 10 million Windows computers. This virus worm was programmed to overwrite people's files and steal passwords. It started spreading around when people started receiving attachments as the first subject, I love you, and the attachment as loveletterforyou.tx.vbs, and with many people being affected from just receiving the email. This email was spread to millions and millions of others. Then later on, the one and only person decided to come out later to the public and say that he created the virus. His name is O'Neil D. Guzman, I believe. I think that's how you say his name. I believe. He's from the Philippines though, and since there was no law against creating malware at the time being, he was not charged after being responsible for having computers affected by the virus. He's now 43 years old, and he says that he did not intend for the virus to spread globally. Kama Sutra, or known as the black worm, Nixum, and blackmail is another malware that infects PCs using Microsoft Windows. The virus was discovered on January 16th of 2006, programmed to destroy common files such as Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint documents. And soon enough, weeks later, February 3rd, computers started receiving emails basically promising sexy pictures, and the subject lines usually went by schoolgirl fantasies gone bad. Alright, for real though. And I forgot to say, the subject line also had hot movie in it. When people clicked on the attachment, their computer became infected as expected. The virus wrote over common files such as a doc, PDF, zip files, and XLS files. And this virus is so crazy that it tries to disable antivirus softwares. And I'm pretty sure most of you people have some antivirus software, because I know I do. I couldn't find anyone that was responsible for the computer virus, so if you know, leave a comment and find who was responsible for the Kama Sutra worm. Creeper. You may be thinking about the Minecraft Creeper, but nope, it's a virus. Creeper was an experimental computer program written by a person named Bob Thomas at BBN in 1971. Its original iteration was designed to move between DEC PDP-10 mainframe computers running the 10X operating system using the ARPANET, with a later version by Ray Tomlinson designed to copy itself between computers rather than simply move. Overall, the fun fact is that this virus is considered the first computer worm, but for the Bob Thompson guy, I have no idea what happened to the guy, so I couldn't get much information on where he went. So if you have any information on him, please provide it in the comment section too. Zeus. Zeus has multiple names. First, Zeus with a capital S, and Zbot. This computer virus is a Trojan horse malware package that runs on versions of Microsoft Windows. This virus was also used to carry out criminal crimes. Well, I mean, obviously, right? It is often used to steal banking information by man in the browser, keystroke, logging, and form grabbing. It is also used to install the CryptoLocker ransomware. Zeus is spread mainly through drive-by downloads and phishing schemes. First identified in July 2007. When it was used to steal information from the United States Department of Transportation. It became more widespread in March 2009. In June 2009, security company Prevex discovered that Zeus had compromised over 74,000 FTP accounts on websites of such companies as the Bank of America, NASA, Monster.com, and ABC or Oracle? I think I'm sorry. Play.com, Cisco, Amazon, and Business Week. Similar to CubeFace, Zeus has also been used to trick victims of technical support scams into giving the scam artists money through pop-up messages that claim the user has a virus when in reality they might not have a virus at all. The scammers may use such programs such as Command Prompt or Event Viewer to make the user believe that their computer is infected. But also get this, later on 2013, Hamza Ben Del, what are these names? Known as BX1, online was arrested in Thailand and deported back to Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Early reports said that he was the mastermind behind ZS. He was accused of operating spy eye similar to ZS botnets and suspected of also operating ZS botnets. He was charged with several counts of wire fraud and computer fraud and abuse. Oh wow, we just finished the first layer, so let's start layer 2. You guys ready? Because I know I am. MyDoom. MyDoom is also known as w32.mydoom at MMM and Norvag and Milmail R and Shimgapi. It's a computer worm affecting Microsoft Windows. It was first cited on January 26, 2004. It became the fastest spreading email worm ever, a record which as 2021 has yet to be surpassed. MyDoom appears to have been commissioned by email spammers so as to send junk email through infected computers. The worm contains the message, quote unquote, "Andy, I'm just doing my job, nothing personal, sorry," and the quote ends there, leading many to believe that the worm creator was paid. Early on, cybersecurity firms expressed their belief that the worm originated from a programmer in Russia. The guy who was responsible for the virus apparently goes by the name of Craig Schmuger. Why I say apparently is because I can't find any trace of him. Acid. Acid is a computer virus which infects .com and .exe files, including command.com. Each time an affected file is executed, Acid infects all of the .exe files in the current directory later. If an infected file is executed, it infects the .com files in the current directory. Programs affected with Acid will have had the first 792 bits of the host's program overridden with Acid's own code. There will be no file length increase unless the original host program was smaller than 792 bits, in which case it will become 792 bits in length. The program's date and time in the DOS disk directory listing will not be altered. It came from above. I don't know anything about this virus other than it's a virus, so if you know, correct me in the comment section. Stormworm. The Stormworm is a phishing backdoor Trojan horse that affects computers using Microsoft operating systems. Discovered on January 17, 2007. The worm is also known as small.dam or trojandownloader.win32.small.dam and CME-711 and more. The Stormworm began attacking thousands, mostly private computers in Europe and the United States on Friday, January 19, 2007, using an email with a subject line about a recent weather disaster. 230 dead as storm batters Europe. During the weekend, there were 6 subsequent waves of the attack. As of January 22, 2007, the storm accounted for 8% of all malware infections globally. There is evidence, though, according to the PC World, that the Stormworm was of Russian origin, possibly traceable to the Russian business network. WannaCry. The WannaCry ransom attack was a worldwide attack in May 2017 by the WannaCry ransom crypto worm, which targeted computers running the Microsoft operating system by encrypting data and demanding ransom payments in the Bitcoin cryptocurrency. It propagated through Eternal Blue, an exploit discovered by the United States National Security Agency NSA. For older Windows systems, Eternal Blue was stolen and leaked by a group called the Shadow Brokers. At least a year prior to the attack, while Microsoft had released patches previously to close the exploit, much of WannaCry spread from the organizations that had not applied these or using older Windows systems that were past their end of their life. These patches are imperative to an organization's cybersecurity, but many were not applied because of needing 24/7 operation, risking having applications that were used to work break, inconvenience, or other reasons. The attack was halted within a few days of its discovery due to emergency patches released by Microsoft and the discovery of a kill switch by Marcus Hutchins that prevented infected computers from spreading WannaCry further. The attack was estimated to have affected more than 200,000 computers across 150 countries, with a total damage ranging from hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. Security experts believe from preliminary evolution of the worm that the attack originated from North Korea or agencies working for the country. In December 2017, the United States and the United Kingdom formally asserted that North Korea was behind the attack. A new variant of WannaCry forced a company called TSMC, and I can't can't pronounce the actual name of the company, so yeah, I'll just put it on screen. To temporarily shut down several of its chip fabrication factories in August 2018. The virus spread to 10,000 machines in TSMC's most advanced facilities. Alright, since I'm done with the second layer, I'm going to be letting my friend here, Seiko, cover the third layer. Give him a chance. He's a small creator, so if you enjoy his part, go to his channel and drop a subscribe. His channel will be linked in the description.
Moving on to layer 3. First, I'm going to be covering the Anachronikova virus. Anachronikova is a virus that infects your Windows system. Well, how do you get this virus? It starts off by trying to trick you into opening an email, with an attachment appearing to be an image of the professional tennis player Anachronikova. But once you open the email, it's not just an image. It's hiding a program that's infecting your Windows system. When you open this email, a code extension enables. It enables the worm to copy itself to the Windows directory. After that, it's going to send a file. It's going to send it as an attachment to all your addresses listed in your Microsoft Outlook email address. Once you've received an email like this, you know you'll get the virus. This virus has a nickname, Anna. This uses Visual Basic to infect Windows systems. The man who created this virus, and who is he? He was a Dutch programmer named John de Witt. He was born May 10th, 1945. However, John turned himself in after knowing his mistakes. He turned himself in for Iceland in the Netherlands. This virus got taken down a couple days after posted, so there's no need to worry about it anymore. Now we're going to be moving on to the Bomber virus. Bomber, also known as Commander Bomber, is a DOS polymorphic memory resident, and it's basically known for its technique patchy infection. This inserts 7 patches in random places inside the file. The method of infection makes it so antivirus softwares have a hard time finding the virus. The size of the bomber is around 4096 bytes, and contains the text Commander Bomber was here. The Bomber virus is a complicated virus, and it stays in the memory and affects the COM files. There wasn't too much about this virus, so let's just move on for now. The Ontario virus. Ontario 512 is an encrypting DOS file infector. This virus goes memory resident and infects files of these times upon being opened. Infected files will increase either 512 bytes of COM files or between 512 and 1023. Some systems with larger file sectors may display increases of greater than 1023 bytes for infected files or of these types. You will know you have the virus if you receive any of these symptoms. An increase in size of affected COM files of 512 bytes. An increase in size of infected exe and OVL files of between 512 and 1023 bytes, and even greater on some systems. Systems thoroughly infected by Ontario 512 may suffer from increasing file corruption and other hard drive problems over time. Unspecified printer problems have also been observed with the Ontario family. There are also different types of the Ontario virus, such as Ontario 512, which is what I just explained, and also Ontario 1024. Ontario 1024 is a computer virus discovered in October 1991. Over a year after the isolation of the first Ontario virus, most of the additions to this one involve making the virus harder to detect. It's basically the same as the Ontario 512 virus. However, the symptoms are a little bit different. Allow me to explain. A decrease in available system memory of around 3072 bytes. File size being changed after executables. The infected ones are executed to display the original file size. And the final and last Ontario virus is Ontario 2048. Ontario 2048 is a computer virus discovered in September 1992. It is the third and final known variant of the Ontario family, both chronologically and in complexity, because of its rather extreme differences from the original virus. Some vendors identify it as a member of a separate family, and as I've already explained, it does the same thing but infects more files or bytes. An increase in size of affected files by 2048 bytes. A decrease in available system memory of 5120 bytes. And that's really it for the Ontario virus, so I'm going to move on now. Code Red. Code Red is basically just a computer worm. Its first appearance on the internet was around July 15, 2001. It attacked computers' Microsoft ISS web servers. Even though the worm had been released on July 13th, the time where the most computers were affected was on July 19, 2001. On this day, the amount of people infected was around 359,000. The Code Red worm was first discovered and researched by EI Digital Security employees. They named it Code Red because they were drinking Code Red Mountain Dew at the time. Now we're going to be moving on to the 5LO virus. 5LO is a computer virus that increases file size and does little more than replicate. 5LO infects exe files only. When it infects a file, it increases the file size by about 1000 and 1100. This message can be found resulting in the virus's name. Whenever an exe file is run, the virus also changes the file's timestamp to the date and time of infection. After these infections, a counter within the virus starts. However, this counter is never checked, so the virus doesn't activate. 5LO appends its code into infected files. All the checks work correctly, and the virus won't infect files multiple times, and it installs itself to memory only once. That's really it for the 5LO virus. Now we're going to be moving on to the Flashback virus. Flashback is a macOS virus that tried to trick users as an installer for Adobe Flash, but that's only if you visit the infected website impersonating Adobe Flash. If you have a late version or old version of Java, and in your web browser, the virus will infect your system and install components. After it infects your computer, Flashback will open a software update to basically try and get you to type in your password. After that, Flashback inserts itself into Safari and takes information from your web browsing activities, basically taking your usernames and passwords, and it ends up sending your information to command and control servers on the web. To end off layer 3, the final virus I'm going to be talking about is the Sasser virus. Sasser is a computer worm that infects computers running vulnerable versions of Microsoft operating systems, Windows XP, and Windows 2000. Sasser spreads by exploiting the system through a vulnerable port, but it's also easily stopped by a proper configuration firewall, or by downloading system updates for window updates. The specific hole Sasser exploits is basically documented by Microsoft, for which a patch has been released 17 days earlier. The most characteristic experience of the worm is the shutdown timer that appears due to the worm crashing. Sasser was created on April 30th, 2004. This worm was named Sasser because it spreads by exploiting a buffer overflow in the components known as LSASS, standing for Local Security Authority Subsystem Service. The worm scans different ranges of IP addresses and connects to the victim's computer primarily through the TCP port. The most characteristic symptom of the worm is the shutdown timer that appears due to the worm crashing. That's really it for layer 3. I want to thank Zoid for letting me on this video. Make sure to like because Zoid put a lot of work into this video. And as always, peace.
Stuxnet. Stuxnet is a malicious computer worm first uncovered in 2010 and thought to have been in development since at least 2005. Stuxnet targets supervisory control and data acquisition systems and is believed to be responsible for causing substantial damage to the nuclear program of Iran, although neither country has openly admitted responsibility for the virus. The worm is widely understood to be a cyber weapon built jointly by the United States and Israel in collaborative effort known as the Olympic Games. Cuckoo. Cuckoo is a virus detection that infects other files in order to spread. Viruses are programs that copy themselves to spread from one system to another through internet, emails, or carried in a removable medium such as a floppy disk, CD, DVD, or USB drive. Viruses also can be disguised as attachments or funny images, greeting cards, or audio and video files. They are reproducible and damageable. When you run a program which attached a virus, you may not realize that your data and files are in danger. Viruses can email themselves to a fitting email address. Additionally, the virus could spread using networks. If one computer on area network or a wireless network is infected, this type of virus will infect every computer on the network, if not blocked by a suitable firewall. Moreover, when you insert some removable media like disk, USB drives, external hard drives, floppies, CDs, and etc. without scanning a virus, hiding on one can get onto the computer unquestioned. SMEG. The SMEG virus construction kit is a polymorphic engine written by virus writer Chris Pyle, known as the Black Baron. SMEG is a acronym or simulated metamorphic encryption generator. Messages within the two viruses Pyle created with it, smeg.pathogen and smeg.twig, suggests that it is also an allusion to the word smeg, used as a profanity by characters in the British TV series Red Dwarf. The engine is designed to be used to add polymorphism to viruses. In 1995, Pyle was sentenced to 18 months in prison for creating the virus, becoming the first person convicted under the Computer Misuse Act. Pikachu, also known as the yellow guy in Pokemon. All jokes aside though, the Pikachu virus, sometimes referred as the Poke virus, was a computer worm believed to be first malware gear at children due to its incorporation of Pikachu from the Pokemon series. The virus was released on June 28, 2000 and arrived in the form of an email titled Pikachu Pokemon, with the body of an email containing the text "Pikachu is your friend." Opening the attached executable met users with an image of Pikachu, along with the message stating, quote unquote, between millions of people around the world, I found you. Don't forget to remember this day every time, my friend. And the quote ends there. The worm itself appeared in the attachment to the email as a file named PikachuPokemon.exe. It is also often compared to the love bug. Through the Pikachu worm was noted to be far less dangerous and slower in its dissemination. Agent.biz. I couldn't find anything on the virus, but just know it's just a virus. Jerusalem is a logic bomb DOS virus first detected at Hebrew University of Jerusalem in October of 1987. On infection, the Jerusalem virus became memory resident using 2 KB of memory, and then affects every executable file run except for command.com. Com files grow by 1,813 bits when affected by Jerusalem and are not reinfected. Executable files grow by 1,808 to 1,823 bits each time they are infected, and are then reinfected each time the files are loaded until they are too large to load into memory. Some exe files are infected but do not grow because several overlays follow the genuine exe files in the same file. Sometimes exe files are incorrectly infected, causing a program to fail to run as soon as it is executed. Rabbit virus. The rabbit or rabbit virus was developed in 1974. It had a malicious intent and was able to duplicate itself. Once on a computer, it made multiple copies of itself severally, reducing system performance and eventually crashing the machine. The speed of replication gave the virus its name. Alright, so since we're done with the 4th layer, let's start the 5th layer. Ravmon.exe. Ravmon-E, also known as RJump, is a Trojan that opens backdoor on computers running Microsoft Windows. Once the computer is infected, the virus allows unauthorized users to gain access to the computer's content. This poses a security risk for the infected machine user, as the attacker can steal personal information and use the computer as an access point into an eternal network. Ravmon-E was made famous in September 2006 when a number of iPod videos were shipped with the virus already installed. Because the virus only infects Windows computers, it can be inferred that Apple's contracted manufacturer was not using Macintosh computers. Apple came under some public criticism for releasing the virus with their product. Melissa. The Melissa virus was a mass mailing macro virus released around March 26, 1999, as it was not a standalone program. It was not classified as a worm. It targeted Microsoft Word and Outlook-based systems and created considerable network traffic. The virus would infect computers via email. The email was titled Important Message From, followed by the current user name. Upon clicking the message, the body would read, quote unquote, here's that document you asked for, don't show anyone else, and the quote ends there. Attached was a Word document titled list.doc containing a list of, you guessed it, and having logins for each. It would then mass mail itself to the first 50 people in the user's contact list, and then disable multiple safeguard features on Microsoft Word and Microsoft Outlook. The virus was made by David L. Smith, and on April 1, 1999, Smith was arrested in New Jersey as a result of a collaborative effort involving the FBI, the New Jersey State Police, Monmouth Internet, a Swedish computer scientist. He was accused of causing 80 million worth of damages by distributing personal computers and computers networks in business and government. On December 10th, 1999, Smith pled guilty to the releasing of the virus, and on May 1st, 2002, he was sentenced to 20 months in federal prison and fined $5,000. AIDS. AIDS is a computer virus written in Turbo Pascal 3.01a, which overwrites COM files. AIDS is the first virus known to exploit the MS-DOS corresponding file vulnerability in MS-DOS. If both foo.com and foo.exe exist, then foo.com will always be executed first. Thus, by creating infected COM files, AIDS code code will always be executed before the intended exe code. When the AIDS virus activates, the AIDS virus overwrites the first 13,952 bits of an infected COM file. Overwritten files must be deleted and replaced with clean copies in order to remove the virus. It's not possible to recover the overwritten portion of the program. Michelangelo. The Michelangelo virus is a computer virus first discovered on the 4th of February 1991 in Australia. The virus was designed to infect DOS systems but did not engage the operating system or make any OS calls. Michelangelo, like all boot sector viruses, operated on the BIOS level. Each year the virus remained dormant until March 6, the birthday of the Renaissance artist Michelangelo. There is no reference to the artist in the virus, and it's doubtful that the virus developers intended Michelangelo to be a reference to the virus. The name was chosen by researchers who noticed a coincidence of the activation date. The actual significance of the date to the author is unknown. Michelangelo is a variant of the already endemic stone virus. Elk Connor. Elk Connor is one of the first known microcomputer viruses that spread in the wild, outside the computer system or laboratory in which it was written. It attached itself to the Apple II operating system and spread by floppy disk. It was written around 1982 by programmer and entrepreneur Rich Strentia. I have no idea to pronounce this also. And he was 15 and in high school. Alright, since I'm done with layer 5, let's start layer 6. Ping pong. The ping pong virus, also known as boot, bouncing ball, bouncing dot, Italian or Italian-A, or Veracruz, is a booter sector virus discovered on March 1st, 1998 at some Italian university. I can't pronounce the name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I mispronounced most of the stuff in this video. It was likely the most common and best known boot sector virus until outnumbered by the stone virus. Computers could be contained by an infected dissectee showing up as 1 KB bad cluster, the last one on the disk used by the virus to store the original boot sector to most disk checking programs. Due to being labeled as a bad cluster, MS-DOS will avoid overriding it. It affects disks on every active drive and will even affect non-bootable partitions on the hard drive. Upon infection, the virus becomes memory resident. CIH. CIH is also known as Chernobyl or Space Filler, is a Microsoft Windows 9X computer virus which first emerged in 1998. Its payload is highly destructive to vulnerable systems, overriding critical information on affected systems drives, and in some cases destroying the system's BIOS. The virus was created by Chen. Oh my god, I can't pronounce it. Alright, back to what I was saying. This guy was a student at a university called Tatung University in Taiwan. 60 million computers were believed to be infected by the virus, resulting in an estimate of $1 billion in commercial damages. Chen claimed to have written the virus as a challenge against bold claims of antiviral efficacy by antivirus software developers. Chen stated that after the virus was spread across Tatung University by classmates, he apologized to the school and made an antivirus program available for public download. The antivirus program was co-authored with Wang Chi Hao, a student at Tam Kang University. Cascade. The Cascade virus, also known as Herbsteblob in Germany, is a prominent computer virus that was a resident written in assembly language that was also widespread in the 1980s and early 1990s. It infects .com files and had the effect of making text on the screen fail or cascade down and form a heap at the bottom of the screen. It was notable for using a encryption algorithm to avoid being detected. However, one could see that infected files and their size increased by 1,701 or 1,704 bits. In response, IBM developed its own antivirus software, The Undead. Couldn't find anything on the virus, so if you know, you know, and if you want to provide what it is on the comment section, go ahead. Layer 7, deep web malware services. I'm sure deep on the dark web, some sort of people are trading some sort of Trojans out there and still might have access to some of the old viruses, such as like ILOVEYOU and more. And someday it's going to be to a point where it's revived and spread around again. Mavade. The Mavade botnet, also known as Cefint or CBC, is a massive botnet. The operators are unknown and its motives seem to be multi-purpose. In late 2013, the Tor Anonymity network saw a very sudden and significant increase in users from 800,000 daily to more than 5 million. A botnet was suspended and fingers pointed at Mavade. Trend Micro reported that its smart protection network saw a Tor model being disturbed to Mavade Trojans. Halloween conspiracy. Starting layer 8, I have no idea what this virus is, so yeah. If you know, you know, and please explain it in the comment section if you can. Chemisucha VB.NEI. It was a payload delivered on the third day of every month. Its goal was to rewrite a bunch of files. It would go through a home network, killing 300 to 500,000 files. Add a theme of reporting its infections to counter a range on a internet server. The stats reached more than 5 million infected computers when on January 25th, the attack, which is supposed to be premeditated since it is not confirmed to the normal mechanism used by the worm. It had an objective of inflating these figures by means of repetitive access to the counter. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the video, and this was my longest video I've ever made on my channel. So if you guys enjoyed, subscribe and like and share the video, and make sure to subscribe to Seiko. If this video does well, I'll make another one. So thank you for watching to the end of the video if you made it here, and my name is Zoid and I'm signing off.